Hey, welcome back to the Special Interest Podcast. I'm Rachel Mary Stout, and today I have a really good friend with me who we met mutually through Tara Strong. She is an aspiring actor and a voice actor, I think, in the UK. Amber, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hello, Rachel. I'm very flattered. I'm very flattered by that little introduction you gave me. Yeah, my name's Amber. I'm an 18-year-old YouTuber and voice actress from England. I'm friends with a lot of voice actors. My dream is to come to America and have a look at the voice acting world and see what it's like through my own eyes, because ever since I was little, I've always been interested in cartoons, and it got into voiceover. And now it's just blossomed from here with me doing a few projects on my own and me focusing and building up my little YouTube channel. So yeah, that's me.
you you got you recently got a voice role at an amusement park voicing something, didn't you? Wasn't that?
Yeah.
Well, tell us about that. Tell us about it.
Well, I can't say much because I've signed an NDA, but I can say it's for a ride called Kooky Trails. I can't remember the plot line. Even if I could remember it, I wouldn't be able to say what it is. I play a character called Prestella. She's a bunny magician, and she talks like Wendy Darling. So I sort of put emphasis on most of the words that I spoke with, that I sort of pitched up my voice a little bit to make it sound a little bit like this. So I would say, my name's Prestella. I'm going to be doing some magic for you today. Or something along those lines. I can't really remember. My audition was 2 months ago, but there you go.
I love it. I love it. So, okay, as far as like your plans to come to the States and wanting to do voice acting here, like what is the goal specific? Like what do you want to do to like get here? Like, is there like a big break you're waiting for, or are you wanting to just come here as quick as possible and jump right into it head first? Like,
I personally want to just come to America as a holiday, if that makes sense. Yeah. I've always wanted to go, ever since I was a little kid. I wanted to go to Disneyland, Universal, and obviously I don't have a passport. I'm still trying to get one after all these years, but alas, the passport office and DVLA haven't been very nice, so I can only dream.
Hey, well, if I had to make a suggestion, everyone goes to Disney World. Everyone goes to Disneyland. If you're gonna go to Disney World, like in Florida, like also go to like SeaWorld and other stuff. But I gotta warn you, a lot of it's tourist trappy. Like a lot of it's really super expensive, like tourist trap type. Gotta be extra careful with your wallet, because they'll suck it all up from you if they can. I've only been once. Only ever been once. I think I was 7 years old when I did. That's not what I wanted to talk about. But what I did want to talk about was about your experience in the industry as someone with autism, because I've noticed a great number of people with ASD. I feel like there is a natural knack for this sort of line of work, because a great number of us not only deal with masking on an everyday basis, which is an acting job in and of itself, but also echolalia is so common amongst us. We're so used to mimicking the voices and sounds and noises around us and using it in conversation to try and make other people laugh. And I didn't know if that had played a part in what you've done, but how exactly did you come to wanting to be a voice actor, and what has it been like in the industry for you as an autistic person? Like, how has that industry perceived you and treated you since?
Well, the industry has treated me quite nicely. I mean, I've spoken to a lot of voice actors, both British and American, and they've been fully supportive. I haven't spoken to much British voice actors, but American, I've lost count of how many, and they've always been so supportive. And when I ask for their advice, they're great. And when I ask them to do their voices, or I say, "Oh, hi, I love this voice," and they're like, "Oh, thank you, that means a lot to me." And they might burst into that voice. It means the world to me. How I got into the industry? Well, from a young age, I loved cartoons. I used to watch Boomerang all the time, Tom and Jerry, and Top Cat, and Wacky Races, and like modern cartoons like Dexter's Laboratory and Ed, Edd and Eddy. So they were on when I was a child, 2008-ish, I presume. So then came the hyperfixations. It's the standard thing that comes with an autistic person. My hyperfixation became, well, cartoons. Well, it kind of varies, to be fair. I mean, my current hyperfixation is Batman the Animated Series. So I've been binge watching that, and I've been contacting the voice actors from that. In fact, before I went on my hyperfixation phase, I met Kevin Conroy, Batman himself, at Wales Comic Con, and Will Friedle, Terry McGinnis. So I think that was what spawned it. Anyways, back to 2018, I got into Rocky and Bullwinkle, the Jay Ward cartoons and everything like that. And then I started discovering June Foray and Bill Scott. Well, before that, I'd got into Hanna-Barbera cartoons. So I was familiar with the likes of Paul Frees, Dawes Butler, Paul Winchell, Don Messick, and everyone like that. So I was interested to research these voice actors. And even though they weren't around anymore, it was still really cool to see that the work's been preserved in such a fashion that many people of many generations can enjoy it for the next 20, 30, 40 years. I mean, if you think about it, Hanna-Barbera cartoons popular in like the 60s and 70s and stuff like that, and there's very few voice actors from then who are still around today. Well, I guess one notable one would be Frank Welker. Guilty pleasure. So obviously the June Foray and Bill Scott thing, I got into researching Bill because I don't think he was as popular as June. I mean, he died at the age of in his 60s. June got to 99 years old. So Bill didn't get like a documentary or biography or anything like that. So I started to work on a documentary about Bill. I enlisted the help of a lot of voice actors like Billy West and Corey Burton and Katie Lee and Tara Strong, Steve Bloom, Weird Al Yankovic. I interviewed them, and I stuck a 2-hour presentation on YouTube about the life, career, and death of Bill Scott. And I think around that time, well, I did record my first voiceover role in 2019. So this was before I had started on the Bill Scott documentary. I think this the kind of the stigma of having autistic people do voices is quite popular nowadays because they can mimic with their echolalia different voices and stuff. And as you said before, masking, that's easy for an autistic person, especially in acting, because you simply become a different person. So it is a lot easier, and that is why it's more common to have that occupation in autistic people. I mean, I'd say I prefer voice acting over like on-screen acting or anything. Well, I haven't really done any on-screen acting. Voiceover, yes. So it's been really easy for me. There have been some good experiences, some bad experiences, but overall, I think it's a fairly slick industry to kind of like werve yourself into if you're an autistic person.
I think that's wonderfully inspirational. And there's a lot of people with our condition that have such terrible self-esteem, and they think that they're going to be like infantilized and like shut away. Yeah. And I don't think that many of them know just how like loving and wholesome that community is, and how supportive voice actors are of one another. I didn't realize that so many people so many big names were involved with that production. I didn't know you had Weird Al in that production. I knew Tara was in it, and I didn't. Did you say Frank Welker was in that too? I'm sorry, bunch of names all at once. Names.
I didn't mention Frank then, but he was involved in it. He didn't do a video interview with me. He simply just his agent, I had been trying to get him for months since we met at Liverpool. In fact, we're meeting in Edinburgh again this October, something I've been waiting a year for because I got cancelled last year. So I spoke to his agent. I pestered him for, obviously pestered, that is just putting the nicest way possible. I sent him emails every so and so weeks or months. And then eventually it got to December 2020, and he was like, Frank is not available for an interview. However, he wanted to send you an email about his recollections with Bill Scott. And it just said, Dear Amber. I was like, oh my God, he's Jesse my name. He knows who I am. He knows I exist. It's so crazy because like when you message a voice actor and they respond saying, hi, name, you're thinking, okay. like a demigod of voice acting. I mean, we're talking about the guy who gave us, first off, okay,
I always remember Frank Welker as the cat guy, even though he's known for so much. Where you're like, oh, why the cat guy? It's because every stock sound effect of a cat going that you've ever heard in every cartoon ever, the same noise that you hear about a cat, like you hear it in the distance because someone threw an object, and you hear a couple tin cans falling, and a cat going, and that's Frank Welker doing his best impression of a cat. That same stock sound you hear in everything, that's Frank Welker. Like, oh, it's Frank.
How much royalties has he received? Gosh.
Huh?
How much royalties has he received from doing that in different films? I mean, to be fair, he does own a mansion, his own tennis court, his own plane.
I imagine. He also, the thing I got from Frank Welker that he told somebody else, and I can't remember who it was, that had given him the advice, but it was like the starting distance, so that way you don't get a bunch of feedback on your mic, was the pinky thumb rule, where you want to start.
The Welker away. I learned that from Steve Bloom.
That was
I still use that.
That was it. Steve Bloom got that from Frank
in his
Welker.
masterclass. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
I use the Welker way technique for my Kooky Trails audition.
Same. I know it's because when I done the audition with Tara, I was trying to get, I was like, well, how is this going to sound, because the acoustics in this room suck.
Yeah.
And so when I went like this, she started laughing, and she goes, I go,
did she recognize it?
Huh? Yeah, she recognized it.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Let's go. Oh man, real recognizes real, I say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
As far so the industry, as far as you getting into it, it seems hasn't been hostile to you as such, and I think that it is important for people with a lower self-esteem to know that people like us can be successful, and it's because what was it like Kari Payton once said, that it's not your disability in this, it's your superpower. And just like for instance, you're right. Well, I mean, we're both right. It's like a full-time act. This isn't even my real voice. Anyone who knows me in real life, what I'm doing right here is masking. Feminized masking. I'm not going to show you my real voice while we're recording, but this is masking in and of itself. I lost my train of thought. Oh.
I love females with deep voices, because like when I look at myself, I think I've never been mistaken for a male over the telephone before, but I haven't seen a lot of other girls like in my college class who sound similar to me. They're more like high pitched up here, sort of like more at the back of the throat. But whereas me, this is just my natural speaking voice. It's weird, but you know, at the same time, as when I was tiny, I had a squeaky voice when I was about 8 or something, and then suddenly puberty hit, and now I sound like a bloke.
Oh no, you don't sound like a dude.
Does help though. But when I want to sound like a boy, I don't. When I do want to sound like a boy, when I do want to sound like a boy, I don't. When I don't want to sound like a boy, I do. Yeah, that's just hidden talent.
That's that. Hey, well, at least you got it down though. It's a good rule of thumb.
Yeah, it's fine.
Oh goodness. Man, so as far as, well, what are the casting roles looking like out there?
As in what context?
Okay, so here, I feel like the casting roles, it's been like, I know a lot of people in the industry in America will be like, well, just jump in, and I'm like, I don't have an agent. It's not like they're in the Craigslist like help wanted ads or anything like in the newspaper. I can't just like go to Google and Google it. Like, Universal Studios wants an extra for this, and it's like, yeah, right. A lot of scams going around as far as like, pay to see the auditions, and which is deplorable. But as far as what the UK is like, I have no idea what it's like out there. Like, do you have to have an agent? Like, do you go to like a casting agency or anything like that to get that, or do you do it by yourself?
Well, I really just scour the interwebs and Twitter and YouTube for casting calls. For most things, most union projects over here, you have to have an agent. There's this one example I know of an animated web series that features a lot of British voice actors who have been doing voiceover work for yonks. And I grew up watching their shows on TV when I was about 4 or 5 or 6. So I spoke to them, oh yeah, how do you get your voice actors? Such, because I want to be a voice actor. Well, I am a voice actress, I voice act. And they said to me, oh yeah, we go through this specific voiceover agency. If you like, you can inquire, maybe you could get on their books and we might hire you for a future episode. So there is that. But most of these agents, voiceover agents, and there's only a select few in the UK, they're all based in London. And London is about 3 to 4 hours away from. I don't even know. I just have to quickly check. But it is a long way. It is from where I live to London is about nearly 4 hours. So, so to travel there on a regular basis, I could not commute. So I would have to work from a home studio, or Manchester is my nearest, big thing because the BBC's located there and everything like that. I mean, I've been to the CBB set. Obviously, I can't share photos because that would be going against their rules that have been set, but it's really nice. And I saw their voiceover studios at Media City in Salford. It was just so professional. It was the first time I'd ever been in a professional recording studio, and I just sat down, I just embraced, and I'm thinking, this is going to be me in a few years' time when I'm finally with an agent. I want to get an agent as soon as I'm ready whenever. It's just obviously, like, I'm still in college. I do performing arts, and my parents want me to wait until I've graduated to get an agent to do full-time work. But sometimes they're like, "Oh, well, if you want to do voiceover work, get an agent." I'm like, "You don't want me to get an agent until I finish college, though?" I don't know, because I know I can do it from a home studio, but there are some instances where I may have to travel to London to record either as an ensemble or a solo session with the voice director and engineer. So in my instance, it's quite hard at the moment. So for now, I'm kind of going for non-paying, non-union gigs because I'm not a part of Equity, which is the actors union in the UK, the US equivalent being SAG, SAG-AFTRA, which is the Screen Actors Guild, the American Federation of Television and Radio Artists. Hey, I remember that. So yeah, in my country, it is kind of hard because I don't know, sometimes they don't pave the way for new talent anymore who are like teenagers or something like that. They mainly get the same British voice actors who have been doing it since I was little. So you've got people like Emma Tate, David Holt. I know you've probably never heard of these, but I grew up with these guys. These were like the Tara Strongs and the Frank Welkers of the UK. So there's Emma, David, Lizzie Waterworth, Teresa Gallagher. Who else is there? Rob Rackstraw, Keith Wickham, Jimmy Hibbert. I mean, the famous actor David Jason has done a lot of cartoons over here. I'm not kidding. And or they just go for on-screen actors. Let's say, for example, Idris Elba, they get for this little kids show that's being aired on CBeebies or something like that. Or I know they got George Takei, the guy from Star Takei, for this CBeebies cartoon.
So, funny. I mean, just to interject, a funny story about Takei. A lot of people here pronounce it as Takai, and he goes, "That means hooker in Japanese." He says, "No, it rhymes with toupee," and he goes, "Oh, Takei." So, because I guess Takai is something like hooker or stripper or something like that.
Oh, I apologize.
No, you're good. It's just it's funny. As long as I pronounced it, I didn't realize how to pronounce it till like 2018, and I didn't realize I'd been calling him George Hooker, George Prostitute. So does college help with those resources? Because I know that as far as acting goes, having that certification or that degree behind you, like any other job, will put you automatically above other actors, despite your merit possibly being higher than those without the degree. Does college, has that helped with like casting resources, or I guess I should say agency resources? Do they tell you how to get into that?
Sometimes, but it mainly focuses on like stage acting rather than voiceover acting. I would like a voiceover class. I could just contact one of my voiceover friends next time they're in England. Come on up to where I live and teach a class with us. I want to try and get Nolan North to teach a class for us.
Yes.
Like I'll be like, oh my gosh, yeah. It would have to do that next time he's in. He's in England next week. I'm meeting him in Liverpool this weekend. And today is the 14th, no, 15th. I haven't marked my calendar. And I do have RS written on it, which is Rachel Stout. I log all my interviews on my calendar. So there's that. I think the main time we really focus on agencies and stuff is when we're doing theory work, like typing work and essays and stuff like that to do with units and everything like that. The rest of it is really just performing mini performances, maybe in the college's theatre or a theatre in a surrounding area. I know we're doing a showcase in a few weeks at the Story House in Chester, so we're doing that. So I'm looking forward to that, yeah. And then I'm doing another thing with a professional local theatre troupe in June. So it's quite exciting. And this course is 2 years. It's kind of hard to stay on though, because there's some people in my class who are likable, some people who aren't. It's a long story. I'm not really going to go into it because I would spend about 2 hours talking about it. But yeah, I kind of just want to leave to aspire my own career, build it up, but at the same time, I want to stay on and finish the 2 years. So I think I'm going to stay on and finish the 2 years, and
you should.
I'll just fly like a little bird off and build my own voiceover career. And I'll say, sorry.
I believe in you. I believe in you.
Thank you. We haven't been given any resources, no, by the way. We have had headshots taken for college performances. However, out of the 2 that we've done so far, I've done 3. Yeah, out of the 3 headshots I've done so far, I've only received 1 of them, which is weird because the first one, which was in September, everyone got them done, and they were only printed in a small little booklet for our Christmas show. We never received copies of those, of the little photos. Some did, but some of us, like me, didn't, which is sad. I want my headshots. You're listening to me. I'll have to ask my teacher tomorrow, to be fair.
So you're meeting Nolan North. My cousin, weird. I have a cousin Vinny. So I love saying my cousin Vinny.
It sounds like a sitcom, My Cousin Vinny.
It was actually a Joe Pesci movie, courtroom drama in the 90s. So the movie is called My Cousin Vinny. And Teen Titans Go did a parody of it. Do you watch much Teen Titans Go?
Sorry.
Oh no. Okay, well they did a parody of My Cousin Vinny. Mm-hmm. So in any case, I know he had just met Nolan North, and he's met Kevin Conroy multiple times. We had some technical difficulties. I think I was going off on a tangent about My Cousin Vinny and Vinny meeting.
You had asked me if I'd watched Teen Titans Go, and I sadly said no, to which you displayed a sheer look of disappointment.
Oh, yes. My cousin, okay, so Tara was supposed to meet, my cousin Vinny was supposed to meet Tara in Indianapolis. Yeah. She caught COVID, which is exactly why she was on this podcast last episode, only because she got COVID. She was busy. It was like one after the other. She was like in California, then in Texas, then in like Canada. And it was like, oh yeah, then I'm gonna go to Indiana. I'm like, oh my god, are you flying? Please tell me you're flying and not like driving the whole way. It's like 22-hour drive in between, like a piece. But as far as meeting these celebrities go, I see my cousins met my cousin Vinny's met Kevin Conroy, I think 2 or 3 different times. Well, he loves Kevin, and he was stoked to meet Nolan North, and he sent me the photo. It was like, hey, look who I met. And I was like, envious. I'm envious. I wanted I almost considered making the nearly 8-hour drive to go from Kansas City to Indianapolis to meet Tara, but what you got?
Can't really see it, but it's a sketch of Nathan Drake I'm doing for Nolan.
Oh, it's
an outline. Yeah, I haven't finished the features yet.
On my screen, it was just like a. bleach white.
It's a man. Hold on. Let's try that again. Right. How is that? Oh, okay. Look at right. Okay, maybe if I hold up here. Oh, hang on.
If you like take a picture with your phone and send it to me, I'll just like
Good
do a
idea.
janky overlap on the.
Good
I'll be like, this is
idea.
what it's supposed to look like. But as far as meeting, because you've met so many that I didn't, like I said, I didn't even know Weird Al was in your production. I didn't even know half the actor. I thought maybe you had like 2 or 3, but I didn't realize you had more than 4 coming to really big names to help you with this documentary. How has your experience been with meeting different voice actors? Like as long as you've been meeting them?
Well, in person, I've only met a handful because I haven't really done much conventions. We don't really get, well, it's supposed to be, oh, the other part's just finished processing. I suppose like we don't get a lot of voice actors here over every convention because not a lot of people don't request them. I mean, we've never had Rob Paulson for a UK con. The closest we ever got for him was Dublin. He hasn't been like anywhere in England or Wales or Scotland. The ones I've met in real life are Tara, Frank Welker, who was this? Stephen Ogg, who was Trevor in Grand Theft Auto 5. Who else is there? I've met Ron Perlman. I suppose he counts as a voice actor because he does a bit of voice acting work. Who else did I meet? I met a few others. I can't.
Ron Perlman is one of those actors, those rare body actors that can also do a really well like voice acting job too. But I mean, so is Mark Hamill, I guess too. But Ron Perlman, he is by far one of my favorites. Then again, all he has to do is just do a really low talk. That's all he. he's got such an iconic voice. I love everything about Ron.
Yeah, definitely. And this Wales Comic Con that's just gone past, I met a lot of voice actors because they always invite voice actors. I met Kevin Conroy, I met Will Friedle, Robbie Damon, Mick Wingett, a few others from Overwatch. I can't remember the names. I'm so sorry. I've met Charles Martinet. And in fact, I kind of met Nolan at the same con I met Tara at about 2-3 years ago this October, but obviously I didn't go to his desk to meet him because the only guest I was interested in that day was Tara. I only specifically went because she was going. It was her first UK appearance. So yeah, Nolan did that with Troy Baker. Obviously, as I said, I didn't see him, or I didn't go to his panel, or because I only went on the Saturday. I didn't go up to his desk and said hi or anything. At that time, I had only looked up Nolan briefly, and I only knew him as the voice of Blaze in the Monster Machines on Nick Jr. So, but now I know him as Smokescreen in Transformers Prime, Nathan Drake in Uncharted, Penguin like in Batman
every
Arkham.
Video game character like ever.
BAFTA gave him a special award in 2018. Like I'm honoring him, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm actually speaking to Nolan tomorrow for my podcast in conversation with ATF.
Yeah. Oh, what? You get
what? We're gonna talk about Liverpool. Him coming over to Liverpool and like everything. And his friendship with Frank Welker and stuff. I don't really reveal my interviews publicly until I've actually done them because I'm worried that someone's gonna get jealous of me. And to be fair, if someone else out there said they interviewed Nolan, I'd be so jealous and so sad that I couldn't reach him. So I kind of don't like bloat. Really, just to save people's sanity of complaining. Oh yeah, there is that.
So, wait, what year did you meet Tara in person?
2019.
Is this okay? So you said in October.
October 2019, yes.
That was like okay. So because I think I remember the picture she had posted of you in
the Rocky cosplay. That was me.
I was following her on I think Facebook and Twitter. And I remember that photo. I was like, "Oh, that's so cute." I was like, "Who is this Amber chick?" And I remember you talking to her, and I added you, but it was like, I think you were what pushed me to get the Fan Mio package to do the video meet because late 2019 COVID was starting to hit real hard, and we weren't. Yeah. There were like no Comic Cons planned, and so that 2019 I met Tara for the first time. And we've been friends ever since. So I think that was as wild. I didn't know we had met Tara like in the same time frame, give or take, like within 3 months of each other. I didn't know that.
Small world.
Have you ever had any like negative experiences? Because I've never had like one negative experience with any voice actors. Is there do you have any like
Fortunately, yes. I'm not going to be name dropping any names just for the sanity of people. I don't want you guys to complain saying, "Oh, such and such, oh yeah, blah 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 blah." Amber said about you in their podcast, and then people would say that's unprofessional. People chatting shit about if Siren's not allowed, I'll just censor that. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I know one experience I had was on Twitter. This voice actor leaked my email. Not not my email address, but like my email itself. And they put it on Twitter, and I got a lot of hate from it. There was people in the thread hating on me and stuff, and yeah, they ended up apologizing, calling me really sweet, and I'm like, well, if you think I'm sweet, then why did you post it in the first place? You know how much it would be horrible. It was awful, terrible. We kind of made up, I guess. We follow each other on Twitter, so yeah. There was another time I had a few unpleasant experiences not really unpleasant, but I kind of argued that they'd never done a British convention before, and they kind of took it in the wrong way possible. And then the fans started coming after me and blocking me and sending me hate and stuff like that. And then another one was, I said, someone asked why Frank Welker wasn't in a specific documentary that someone had done. And I said it was because of his budget, I think, because that's what I'd heard, that specific documentary, that's why he wasn't in it. And then the documentary creator came at me saying, no one was charged. A little amateur like you should not be addressing someone like that who is a professional in our industry. I'm like, I wasn't being horrible to him. What?
Oh,
I'm like,
no.
I've met Frank 3 times. Well, 4 if you count the real life appearance. But come on, I wouldn't insult him. Well, no, of course not, no. And the most recent one I had was with a voice actor who was actually a close friend of mine. We kind of had an argument over a misunderstanding. They called me mentally ill, told me to get well, and blocked all contact with me, which is ironic considering they also have mental health problems just like me. And we have both spoken openly about her experiences and stuff. And it's unbelievable. It really is unbelievable. And as I said, I'm not name dropping anything because I don't want you guys attacking these people. As much as I'm angry, I don't want people going after them, no matter if they're on social media or not. So I think the only person I haven't had a negative experience with ever, or like a slight disagreement with, is, of course, Frank Welker. I've never had anything negative with him. And I hope it stays that way because we're meeting in Edinburgh in about, I have a countdown thing. I have a little countdown app. I know you can't see. It is 145 days until I meet Frank and Peter Peter Cullen in Edinburgh. So yeah,
I can't wait for you for that. I can't wait
to see my boy again. My boy Frank. I can't wait.
I know that's probably a point of like fear for some, because I was always told don't meet your heroes. Like that seems to be a really big like rule of thumb between amongst fans. Don't meet your heroes. And I'd have to disagree. I would, as far as like being starstruck and obsessing over your heroes, that's one thing, but also having the understanding that anything that they might say or get from people has a much steeper consequence for them as it would for us. So it's like, you experienced, if there's a personal misunderstanding between you and them, and they say something too stern, of something completely innocent, something that would get like no reaction from anyone else in our lives as us, but as them as voice actors, if they said the same thing, that would possibly conjure up an entire army of like crazies to come and try and dox you and ruin your life. Like, yeah.
I'm not making fun of BTS stands, by the way. Don't come after me. I'm not one of those people.
As far as as far as never coming to the UK, so do you mean like speaking on? Because I noticed that there's this idea that like Americans are super rude, especially in like Australia and maybe some parts in Europe. And I think I understand the idea that a lot of Americans are rude. is because unlike Europe and the UK, where they hold greater powers and celebrities to a much higher like standard, like they hold them accountable. We don't. we, we're also not very apologetic in the way we talk. Because I notice from all my UK and like European and Brit friends, it's always like, oh, asking anything at all. It's, oh, sorry, maybe could you possibly do maybe this when maybe you have the time, thanks. And it's like in America, it's like, yeah, so do this for me, yeah, okay, thanks. So we go to a restaurant, could I please maybe possibly get a little bit of this salad when you're done? And it's like with fucking Yanks, it's always, yeah, I'll have this. Okay, thanks. It's always, so it comes off as rude, but we're like super direct, and we don't realize just how like how super direct we are, and that I realize that could also especially come off as super aggressive when having a sort of misunderstanding, especially in front of fans, to a bunch of other people. That's got to be nerve-wracking, as well.
Oh, for me, it's nice to be nice, really.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, you are. So. You had to have been honey dipped and then double dipped in sugar, like right after, because you've been nothing but wonderful the whole time I've known you. Like, honestly.
Apart from that one little blip where I was a little bit jealous that you spoke to Tara. Sorry.
I've got a lot going on for me.
It's fine. It's my fault. I get jealous easy. It's another part of the autism trait. I'm easily angered.
You were jealous for 1 whole hour. It's okay. You're okay.
I had you blocked for a few days.
I didn't notice.
Okay.
I'm sorry. No,
I did. I don't notice people block me until like a month later. I'm like, oh, let's go see what such and such is doing. Huh? Blocked for a whole month?
I did. I was kind of. I was like, oh no, what did I do? Did I make her angry?
No, I'm for the fact girls.
You came back around because you are. You've been. I love you to death. I love talking to you. I love you to death, Rachel. Huh?
I love you to death, Rachel.
Oh, thank you. I've been so super excited to hear. Oh, speaking of roles and whatnot, I know you had recently auditioned for a live action television show for the BBC. How did that go?
I still haven't heard back. I've submitted my self-tape. Well, there was 2 parts to it. The first part was obviously a video explaining yourself. The next one was like a video of you reading the script that they sent. I can't say anything. Even like everyone who's auditioned can't say anything about the project. Right. All I can say is about an autistic girl, and it's a series for the BBC. That's all I can really say. I've sent off the tape with me reading the script, and they said. The casting director said on the phone, we won't hear back from a while because obviously we've got a lot of people to go through and it's got to be sent off to different people like the producer and the director and stuff like that. So I don't know when they said they'd be in touch, but I think it was at the end of last month that I submitted it. So I kind of hope it doesn't fall this because I think the next one is a callback audition in person in Manchester. I hope that doesn't fall at the end of the month or the beginning of June because I'm on holiday.
I would love to, I absolutely hope you hear back from, because it's such an important thing for us to have representation in film. And I don't mean like Rain Man or like that god awful See a movie like music, wasn't it? That it's terrible. I mean, the Nothing About Us Without Us movement. I'm glad to see that it's sort of picking up. There's been a couple, I think there was a Netflix series where they casted an actually autistic person for an autistic role, and to cast you as an autistic person for an autistic role would just make my heart flutter. It'd make my heart sing, because I would be appalled, disgusted if anyone not autistic was
got the role.
Yeah, because
or even worse, someone who faked having autism just to get the role. I mean, well, I know there is this one show I auditioned for. It's a British soap called Hollyoaks. They have an autistic character on the show, played by an actor who is now non-binary. So they made the character now non-binary. And I think it's well represented. She's a black actress. She's non-binary. Also uses he/him pronouns, so it's he/they. I think. I don't know much about them, so I can't really say. But they've introduced a new character onto the show who is not autistic, but is also black and non-binary, and they have now thing the title. It's now the first ever black person, black non-binary person romance in a British. What's it called? Like a British ongoing soap series. I think that's
Which
what
is really wonderful to hear about, because if something like that were to happen here, of course you get all of the backlash in the world about it. I'm sure you have it there as well, but
it is a soap opera. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird because when I hear the word soap opera, all that comes to mind is like EastEnders or Coronation Street or Emmerdale or anything.
I always get, of course, here it's like The Young and the Restless and Days of Our Lives.
The Bold and the Beautiful.
Yes, The Bold, yes. But it would be great, because as far as like autism from the female perspective, like it's so taken as like a male thing, and that's so not okay. Like autism is not a male disease. It's just not heavily studied as for women.
Yeah.
You look excited. Sorry. What'd you hear? Do you hear anything
I got an email back from Nolan North.
Oh.
It's nothing much. I just asked him with all my guests. I asked him to record a little intro. I'd say so far the biggest guest I've had on my little conversation with ATF thing is Rob Paulson. I don't know. I don't even know who has a bigger net worth. Is it Nolan North or Rob Paulson? Well, they golf together with Frank Welker, so makes sense. But I asked Nolan, could you do like a little an audio intro, just explaining who you are, which characters you do, and round off with your watching in conversation with our fangirl? And he's just replied saying "sure" with an exclamation mark. So I'm like, So actually, I'm gonna have a look. So whilst I look at their net worth, if you've got any more questions, then fire away, because I'm
honestly, I'm running out. Rob
Paulson has a bigger net worth.
Huh?
Rob Paulson has a bigger net worth, so technically he's the biggest star I've had on the show.
I'm still trying to get him. Because here, Ash.
It took me a year. It took me a year.
I would.
And I never gave up.
Because I'm gonna have to just try and contact. I don't really know how to get a hold of him.
I have his publicist's email if you want me to send it to you privately.
Oh, I would love that, because he I know he advocates for his son who has autism, and Ash Paulson
who advocates for whose son? Sorry,
huh?
Whose son has autism? Sorry,
Rob's son.
Ash has autism.
I'm pretty sure he does. I don't quote me on that, but I'm almost certain that he does. I remember hearing somewhere that because Rob Paulson is a pretty big advocate for. I
thought it was like autism. His sister's son who had autism.
Maybe I think that might.
I don't know, but if Ash is autistic,
I don't remember if he's Ash's. Like I said, please don't. I don't want to start a rumor or anything. You know what I mean? I'm not. I'm just going off of my faulty shit memory.
Let's just put it to bed.
yes. But I just know that he advocates.
For
the ASD community, and I would love to have him on. An autism, podcast. The
autism cult. Yeah, can I also say like how much of an honor it is to be in the episode straight after Tara Strong's? I feel honored.
I wouldn't have it any other way.
I feel next episode
is someone who's really big in the left-hand path community here in Kansas City. Next week, I'm actually going to be on a local production for a documentary for Kansas City's underground communities, and so my nesting partner and I will be on a documentary. You may or may not hear about it. It's sort of a small production company. But that'll be exciting. It'll be exciting. I hope to get the special interest podcast out there. That'd be nice, But yeah, no, that's I think that it's about that covers just about everything. I mean, I really thank you for your time and having been on here. Like I'm surprised that you'd have given me the time of day. Not that you wouldn't, but like that you
probably get asked to do podcast. Of course, I'd give you the time of day.
Oh.
I've only done about 4 or 5, only a little handful of podcasts, to be fair. I've done the Fun Ideas podcast by Mark Arnold. I've done Jeremy Wilcox's Fandom Squad podcast. I might have done a few others. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I haven't done many. So this is just the start of many to come, and I'll always remember
you
you as one
deserve
of my
it.
first 5.
I hope everyone
Thank
asks. So,
you.
I hope you get a flood of people after. I mean, I don't really have very many viewers or subscribers. I think the most views any of my despite having like a couple of TV stars and Tara Strong on, like next to no one views my stuff. So it's that's it. Thank you so much for being on. It really has been. I love this. We got to have you back on when you're in Hollywood and looking down upon us from your ivory tower. That's funny. And so it's great. Please, if you could, like and subscribe if you want to see more, especially if you want to see Amber again. You want to see Amber again. Next episode is going to be Michael, and I'll see you around.
Thank you, Rachel. It's been a great pleasure being on your podcast. Bye, everyone.
Bye.